the way you see life determines how you live life. Remember this. The way you see life determines how you live life. Ask you a question. You know how people get very cute about what they think life is? So what do you think life is? And just imagine, people say, oh, I'm between a rock and a hard place. You use that expression? Or I'm just barely keeping my head above water. Do we use that expression? It is an indication of what? Of what we think life is. Somebody would say, you know, man, life is like a roller coaster. Sometimes you're up and sometimes you're down. And a person on a roller coaster, do they really have control? It gives you an idea of what they think of life. Or some people would say, man, life is a symphony. Everybody just does their part. Some will have to play the violin, other people will have to blow on the trumpet. And some people say life is a party. Well, if you think that life is a party, what is the most important thing to you? Have fun. If somebody says that life is a race, what is the most important thing for them? Speed. So now the way you see life is going to determine how you live life. Hence, the word al-hayat al-dunya, the worldly life, is mentioned in the Quran in 65 different places. The word al-hayat al-dunya, this worldly life, is mentioned in the Quran 65 times. The question is why? Why would Allah present al-hayat al-dunya in 65 places? Allah would speak about al-hayat al-dunya. Because what Islam seeks is, we are going to give you the bigger picture of what al-hayat al-dunya is. We're going to give you the general map that is going to guide you in this al-hayat al-dunya. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Okay. So what happens is, our thoughts of what life is going to determine how we live life. So in many places, there is a lot of talk about al-hayat al-dunya. For example, we will come to this verse later on. But flip the page. For example, Allah says, "I'lamu annama al-hayatu ad-dunya la'ibun wa lahu." Know that the life of this world is but play and amusement. And if you look into what was said before it, in this hayat al-dunya, things are not what they appear to be. That is part of what we learn about al-hayat al-dunya as presented to us in the Quran. Let me say what I mean. For example, Allah tells us that about al-hayat al-dunya, that life is short, that life is a test, that life is but an allurement, but do not be deceived by the allurement of this life. Life is a play, life is an amusement, and what have you. But also, what the Quran is telling us, that sometimes what things appear to be is not necessarily what things really are. And that is why in the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ would pray and he would say, Allahumma arini al-ashya'a kama hiya. Oh Allah, allow me to see things for what they really are, not what they appear to be. That is beautiful. Oh Allah, allow me to see things for what they really are, not what they appear to be. Because in order to engage with reality and make a difference, you have to know what it is that you are being engaged with. Otherwise, you are just chasing a mirage. So the Quran tells us about al-hayat al-dunya. So for example, Islam says, guess what? You are going to live in this life, you will be tested. You will be tested. We tell you what the test is going to look like. We'll go back to the previous ayah. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ. Be sure, we shall test you. Be sure, we shall test you. This is in the previous page. بِشَيْءٍ, with something of fear and hunger. بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ. وَنَقْصٍ مِّنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ. Some loss in goods or lives, or the fruits of your toil. وَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. But give glad tidings to those who patiently persevere. Again, what it is said is, part of being in this hayat al-dunya, in this worldly life, is that you will be tested.